Oh, that starts the daisy chain, doesn't it? This is gonna get silly. Tap that. Pay 1. Yeah, make a 4/4. Wow, Court Street Denizen in this deck. Insane.
Today on Commander Replay, we check out this Hilda of the Icy Crown deck and find out how nasty things get when we start tapping down our opponent's stuff. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, there's 2 great ways to support the channel. All links are in the description below.
Welcome back, everyone. Playing some Hilda of the Icy Crown today. I'm excited about this one. This is one of my own devise here. Oh man, 1 land and Soul Ring. Oh, the sword. I think we can keep this. This will come in tap though, unless we find a land. I'm gonna keep this against all better judgment. Also, not a lot of removal in this deck. This austere command's gonna be pretty important, I think. I definitely skimped on removal in the name of other things. So yeah. Oh god, Atraxa Grand Unifier. That'll be terrible. Nahiri Fortune Fire I haven't seen yet, but I do think that could be kind of strong. And Urabrask the Hidden. One that I've been meaning to play for like, I don't know, 6 years. We'll see if Fish has anything cool going on with Urabrask. I'm sure there's all kinds of fun things you can get up to when you give creatures haste that aren't supposed to have haste. Haste is a funny keyword in that it only really matters the turn it comes in, or in like a control exchanges or something like that. Like First Strike, Vigilance, most of the other evergreen keywords are either in effect all the time, or it's something like Prowess that, you know, triggers reasonably often. Where Haste, it's like, it's good for that first turn, and then it does literal nothing on the second turn you control it. That said, it's still a powerful mechanic, and, you know, has been a staple of red decks for many, many years. And particularly in Commander, as things have sped up, you know, you need to get things done right away, because there's just so much interaction that can happen, you know, in a 4-player game. And, you know, even if it's something big and dumb, if it's just, you know, Colossal Dreadmaw or something like that, giving it haste and getting that damage in right away is very important. Let alone if, you know, there's abilities or other things that you're trying to get done with the creatures. He's back to our turn. Did not catch that land. Gonna play the very awkward Glacial Fortress tapped. Fish is like, you're playing blue-white control. Yeah, kinda. It's controlling. I don't know that I would call it, like, full control. When I think of control, I think of an Esper deck with, like, 30 spells, 4 creatures, and Oloro. I think of Oloro. It's not quite that. It's definitely going to be annoying, that's for sure. So I would call it controlling? Control-ish? Pure Steel Paladin. Yeah, that's a real magic card. You know, for years, I was saying that, like, this card should have been legendary, and someone asked the question, I think it was Pleasant Kenobi on Twitter, and they're like, should this be legendary? And I'm like, no, because I know what I would do with a legendary Pure Steel Paladin, and it would not be a good time for anyone else. I mean, unless we're comfortable with the game ending on, like, turn 5. You know, if that's the place that we're at, then sure, fine, yeah, Pure Steel Paladin as a commander, right? But, and, like, you know, a lot of people in the game now are comfortable with the game ending on, like, turn 5 or 6, so I guess it's not the end of the world, but us old crusty Magic players, I do prefer slightly slower games of Commander. We do get a land off the top, which is absolutely huge, so we get to go to the Soul Ring, we get to play the Sword of the Animist, and we get to play the Gideon's Lawkeeper, and now this hand is starting to look pretty good. As long as we can hold on to this Gideon's Lawkeeper, I feel good. We do have some backup creatures should that go down for some reason. So that brings me to this deck. Let's take a read of our commander, and we'll talk about some card choices and stuff. So Hilda of the Icy Crown, I think it was Flintlock piloted this the other day, and I'm like, that looks really cool. And I should talk about this also. I've played very little blue-white over the years. Like, I haven't done a stat check because it takes forever to do that. We used to have people that were excited enough in the channel that they would, you know, run stats against all the videos for me manually. There's over 1,000 of those now, so that's going to take you a little while. It's going to take you a few hours. Anyway, if you ran the stats against my videos, I play very little blue-white. And there's a few reasons for that. One, it's not my preferred playstyle. Two, it's a little stronger most of the time. Like, for what we do on this channel, it's strong and at the very least very annoying. And for a long time, it's gotten better now. Now there's, like, more options and stuff. But for a long time, there weren't blue-white commanders that could close the game out particularly quickly, even once you establish control. So you basically had to be running like a combo of some sort, otherwise the game would just never end. So that's like another reason that I've kind of shied away from it for many, many years. But We have this very cool commander that, like I said, I'm very excited about. Hilda of the Icy Crown. 4 mana, 3/4. Whenever you tap an untapped creature an opponent controls, you may pay 1. When you do, choose one, make a 4/4 elemental, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control, or scry 2, then draw a card. That's 3 really good abilities. I mean, the fact that card draw is built in, there's basically this line in the sand of like commanders that draw cards and commanders that don't draw cards, right? If you are playing a commander that doesn't draw cards against commanders that do draw cards, it's just going to be an uphill battle. Doesn't mean you can't win, but things are just going to need to go right for you where your opponent, they probably don't care one way or the other, right? Because the card draw's in the command zone. So dare I say that the card draw on commanders has gotten too easy over the years. And I think they've backed it up a little bit. But, when we were looking at, what was that, 2018, 2019 with the, with the morph commander, where it's just like cast a thing, draw a card, cast a thing, draw a card. Things were getting out of hand a little bit there. The card draw was a little too free and easy, if you know what I mean. And, I don't know, there's something interesting in the game where, like, if you don't have access to a lot of easy card draw, it makes you do different things, right? So, like, if you were in mono red and you had to play a Reforge the Soul, right? That's you tapping out on turn 5 for a piece of card draw that, like, can help your opponents. Which is, like, in today's day and age, I wouldn't even run that unless I'm playing, like, a Reanimator or something. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get to with all that is that if you drop a board wipe and someone hasn't been drawing cards all game off of said free and easy card draw from a commander, then they actually run out of stuff. And that situation goes both ways. One, that player gets stuck and may not be the best time for them. But the other thing is, it keeps them from just running away with the game. Now it's like, in particular, I think one of the most problematic things is cast a creature, draw a card. Those effects are so busted. And even when you cast a board wipe, and even if it goes off, there's no protection spell, those decks tend to draw so many cards that, like, it almost doesn't matter because they're probably on 6 or 7 cards in hand anyway when that board wipe goes off, so they can just replay everything. Like, they've been casting stuff all game, and they still probably have more cards than you, who's only played a board wipe, right? Like, it's wild. Anyway, let's take our turn here. We draw a land, play the land. Yeah, let's get this sword attached. What do we got? We said Atraxa could be kind of strong. We got an Urabrask. We'll poke into that Koth. That seems like a reasonably good idea. No one needs a Koth ultimating. Go boop over to the Koth. By the way, we should talk about that Koth. I saw it come in, and I was trying to finish the thought that I was on, but I was very excited about it when it came in. As we get our a lot of white in this deck. We'll get a plains. Most of the creatures in this deck are white. Anyway. Fish dropped in this Koth the Hammer last turn, and I absolutely love this card. I wish I played it more. I played Red Deck Wins when this was in Standard, and this card was so much fun. I don't know. I just think it's a really cool card. He's a really cool Planeswalker. I don't think he showed up again, has he? I'm pretty sure this is Koth's only card as we drop in our Court Street Denizen here. But yeah, I don't know. I like this card. A lot of good memories from playing a lot of 1v1 Standard. I won Game Day Dark Ascension with that Red Deck Wins deck. And Koth was definitely a big part of that deck. Didn't get to ultimate him all that much with that deck because, Red Deck Wins, you're just trying to count to 20, right? Like, you're just trying to count to 20. Now, there was a lot of life gain. Timely Reinforcements was a card right around then, which was terrible against for mono red decks. But, yeah, this card just excites me. I wish I played it more than I do. I don't play that many Planeswalkers, but every once in a long while, I throw that in the deck. Oh, it's a Pleat for power. What is it? Is it draw 3 or turn? Yeah, I think we'll go the draw 3. Knowledge gets more votes or is tied. Draw 3 cards. Yeah, we're going Knowledge. The Swiftfoot Boots is unfortunate on this Pure Steel Paladin because we can't tap it down. And all of our effects trigger off of tapping stuff down. And it does need to be an opponent control, so we can't tap our own things to trigger the thing. There was a deck right around this time of Koth the Hammer that was in Standard. Who was it? Craig Wesco, the guy that plays White Weenie in every single tournament ever, had built a really cool deck using like Gideon's Lawkeeper. Hero of Bladehold was in it. It was blue-white White Weenie basically. So a lot of the white creatures with some blue counter spells and things like that. And I tried to make that deck work. Turns out I'm not Craig Wesco. I did not have the success that he had with that deck and could never really figure out the win with it. And I mean, part of it is that, we never really talk about tournament magic on this channel, but I used to be reasonably into tournament magic around 2010 to 2012. was really kind of going hard on the standard. And, the thing with tournament decks is that, like, you're trying to gauge the meta in the field, or at least back then you were. I haven't played tournament Magic in quite a while now. And I think the way meta games kind of come together now is much different than it was 10 or 12 years ago. Junka going to try to finish off the Caught the Hammer there, and I can certainly appreciate that. It does trigger the Explorer's Scope. Did also get themselves a land tax. But yeah, so I think the idea with that deck that Craig Wesco played was that, it was very good for what he was expecting to show up at that tournament, and less good once the meta was actually kind of settled in, because after that I think I switched. I think, if I'm remembering everything right, that was when Wolf Run Ramp came into play and was like the top deck, and I switched to that deck, and I had a pretty good time with that deck. It could be disrupted because Blue-White Control was starting to show up around the scene at some point there too. And a Snapcaster Mage and a Vapor Snag could be absolutely terrible. But there's an Urabrask coming at us. Yep. Hey, you know what's funny? If all of Fish's stuff has haste, it is somewhat difficult to tap it down. I guess we could use Gideon's Lawkeeper to do it. Yeah, we might have to. But after that, during Dark Ascension, I switched to Blue-Black Zombies, and I love that deck. It was like aggro control, and it was amazing. You could play fast, you could play slow. Like you had game at all parts of the game. You had a lot of interaction. It was really good against Blue-White Snapcaster decks. And yeah, I usually ran game at the shop with it. I collected a lot of prize packs with that deck. I still have it assembled and have literal nothing to do with it. That is the problem with old standard decks. Anyway, brings it back to our turn. That's enough yakking. Let's play this Hilda. Get our commander in. That'll trigger the Court Street Denizen. Ooh, Urabrask makes our stuff come in tapped. That's spicy. What's unfortunate here, I really want another land off the Sword of the Animist, but I also want the card draw off of Hilda. What's more important, the card draw or the thing? I'm going to leave up the Gideon's Lawkeeper. Unfortunately, we don't have the mana to move everything around. If Fish plays another creature, I would like to tap that creature down and do the Scry 2 draw a card thing, I think. And so after all of that, we can talk about our deck a little bit. I tried to make this deck Seasoned Marshal Tribal. I didn't run every single version of Seasoned Marshal. Well, I suppose a lot of you may not know what that card is. Let's go find it. Seasoned Marshal has been around for a very long time. It was printed in... I don't even know the original set that it came out in, but I know it was reprinted in like 7th, 8th, and 9th editions. So it's been around a very long time. And... all it says is, whenever it attacks, you may tap target creature. And there's a million variations of this creature. Probably enough to truly fill out a deck. Like, I think you could probably actually get around 20 of them at least. Depending on how far from the original you want to stray. Like, Frost Titan does essentially the same thing, but is, wholesomely a different card than Seasoned Marshal. Anyway, I jammed quite a few of these type of creatures in here. I didn't go all of them because there are some bad ones. Also, like, at some point you just need other effects. But we've also got some other weird jank like Topplegeist, Limited All-Star right there. Did this Mega Splash in Standard? It might have. I can't remember. Got a few other cutesy things. Got Brave the Sands because I feel like it could be really good in this deck. We've got Great Sword of Tyr, more tapping, and pumps our stuff up. Our creatures are pretty small. Truth and Justice for the same thing seems good with the +1/+1 counter mode. Again, trying to pump our stuff up. Icing Death is just fun. This one, Frost Tongue gives you the ability, but this one definitely strays a little bit more from the Seasoned Marshal kind of thing. One thing I did think about is that, instead of the Seasoned Marshal route, you could also go the Gideon's Lawkeeper route. There are quite a few of these type of creatures as well. I've only got 1 or 2 of them in here. I cut some of them to make room for the other stuff. What is this? Oh, we got a vote? Are we playing a vote deck or something? Enters the battlefield or attacks. Each player secretly votes for a player. Then those votes are revealed. Each player draws a card for each vote they received. Each player who received no votes may put a permanent onto the battlefield. I'll vote Fish. Wait, if we voted ourselves, do we get to draw a card? Is that what I'm understanding? I think we wanted to draw a card. Whoops. On the other hand, we save 4 mana if we get this thing in for free. Ooh. Well, we draw a card. We draw a Dowsing Dagger. Fantastic. Keep that mana coming. I had considered putting Lorthos in the deck. With the start that we're having with the mana ramp, Lorthos would not be out of the question a few turns down the road, but can't necessarily guarantee that's going to happen every time. But that was something I thought about. Other things to think about with this deck. You can get really nasty with this deck, being that it's blue. Like, if you start running stuff that says creatures don't untap, like static orbs and stuff like that, there's more of those effects in blue. I can't remember all of them. But if you start running that type of stuff, this deck will get very nasty very quickly. Opposition is generally a busted card. What's that combo with? A zombie? Is that what that does? I cut the opposition. You could... Never had a zombie in the deck, but it's certainly a thing you could do. You know, if you wanted to make it as spiky as possible. I mean, I also skipped Rift and a number of other, like, really OP blue cards. Citizen's Crowbar. Enters battlefield, makes a 1/1. Group creatures +1/+1 and has tap. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Oh, God. Oh, no. No. Yeah, we can't be having that. Oh, no, it's got hexproof. We can't do anything about it. Oh no. What is this? And why am I not running it in tap creature tribal? Oh, you have to sacrifice it. Oh, I see. Still, there are worse things. There are worse things. So you get a 1/1, and it's attached to the 1/1, so it's a 2/2. It does come in tapped. Okay, so we're good until at least next turn. I would like to get one more shot off with the Sword of the Animist. Huh, this is an interesting card. Gives you a body, little bit of power, and if you really need to, you can pop an enchantment or an artifact. Maybe a touch slow, so like sometimes when you need removal, you just need removal and you need it right now. So that's definitely a thing, but an equipment deck certainly makes sense. This has piqued my interest. I am very sad that in the Cycle of Swords of Vex and Y, we did not get one that blows up enchantments. We do have one Sinew and Steel that blows up artifacts, and if you're running on no budget, it's probably better than this. But yeah, very sad we didn't get the enchantment one. But anyway, getting back to my other thought, yeah, you can get super nasty with this deck if you start running things that prevent people from untapping. Creatures or other stuff, like even Sleep can be pretty nasty. I think I cut that one. Yeah, I cut Sleep because Sleep is gross. Sleep hit lands? I can't remember. I just remember it being gross. Nope, just creatures, but you tap them and they don't untap during their next turn, so it's like they lose like 2 turns. It's rough. Pure Steel going to swing over to Fish. Yep, Explorer Scope. But overall, I'm excited about this commander. I think it's really cool. I haven't been building a lot of things in paper, but this is one that I could reasonably see myself building in paper. Also, because like I don't have a blue-white deck in paper. I think most of my blue staples are unused at the moment because I play so little blue. And like if I did this, I would definitely do Seasoned Marshal and Gideon's Lawkeeper tribal type thing and just like jam as much jank in there as humanly possible. I wanted to get an Icy Manipulator in here and I just kind of ran out of space and forgot. But, you know, love stuff like that. Definitely be a good time. Moving on from that, let's take a look at what our opponents will... Oh god, it's a Reforge the Soul. No. Oh, Seething Song first. I don't like where this is going. We're about to lose a lot of good cards. Our hand is definitely going to get worse. We can scry too. That might help. Here comes a Reforge the Soul. This is a sorcery. Oh, that makes me sad. Well, rip this hand. I noted right before I went to the game that like I'm not running nearly enough recursion. And I'm now very sad about that. It's a known issue. Just trying to jam a lot of jank in here. You want jank, then you don't get to run all the good stuff. That's an Enlightened Tutor. Yeah, that's a pretty good one to fire off into a wheel. That's a really weird Reforge of the Soul. They did it into 7 cards. I mean, I get you want to be mana efficient, but I'd have to imagine there's... Whatever they had probably wasn't looking all that good. The Seething Song... I mean, the Seething Song is weird, too, because I imagine it's going to be tough to use that mana on the draw step here, which is where we are. Yeah, nothing we can do. We're just going to lose all this stuff. God, would I love us. We should probably... No, because then we'll have to discard. Gross. So gross. Wheels. So disruptive. Well, there's a lot of gas in that hand, so that's a thing. 1 land, only. I do miss the... Wish we got the Lightning Greaves, wish we didn't lose Austere Command, but we did pick up a lot of things, so that's a thing. Always Watching is nice. Felidar Retreat, also very nice. Yeah, Fish loses all that mana, so that was kind of just a gamble to see if they would, like, get stuff they could play. What did they Toma Legends. That's fine. Do we have a stop set on begin combat here? Okay, yeah, we have a stop on combat. Fish is going to draw a card. We will tap down the Urabrask so that we can scry and draw a card. Would like to get like a second land. Have 2 lands kind of lined up for us here. Little cost reduction wouldn't be terrible. Hey, I almost forgot that ability costs mana, so luckily we left up 2. You guys can see how awesomely bad I am at scrying. Just not good at scrying. Don't play blue enough to get good at it. Yes. We're gonna go the scry 2 then draw a card mode. Thought Vessel, Mystic Remora. Those are cards. Yeah, see, like, I see both of these cards, and then I want both of these cards, but also realizing that, like, we still haven't found a land. We should be able to get the Sword of the Animus shot off. So, yeah, I think we just keep all this. We'll go Remora. We'll draw the Thought Vessel, basically. All the creatures are unfortunately tapped, so... We'll see what we can get done with that this turn. We need to do things in the correct order here, which is get this Felidar Retreat first. Felidar Retreat seems like a nice little backup to our commander. Or, you know, if you have them both together, awesome. But in this case, I kind of had him like, all right, you know, if our commander goes down, this will give us that nice pump effect. God, the Vigilance, too. Seems so good. Crap, I think I was supposed to get that Thought Vessel first. Play the Wasteland. Get a trigger... I think I do want to start pumping stuff up. As much as I would like the Cat Beast guy. Let's get the Vigilance because we'll have abilities up on the Vigilance. Like, we'll be able to use this thing, theoretically. Then play the Thought Vessel. Ooh, and our commander's a 4/5 now. It's not bad. I mean, these 4-mana ability commanders used to be like 2/2s, right? Now they're 3/4s, 4/4s. Power creep. It's real. It's very real. Yeah, we have 2 mana up so we can tap something down and generate more value doing that. Seems like a plan to me. We've got Vigilance so we can swing away. I don't feel deeply threatened by anything here, so I'm just going to spread the damage around. Chip everyone down a little bit. Put the commander on Fish because, you know, Fish usually has the strongest deck at the table. Could be us today, but sort of the Animus stability. Let's get an island. Just make sure we do have the blue. We do have a Cryptic Command now. That will trigger the Felidar Retreat. This time we'll get the 2/2. I did want to have that Vigilance as we went into combat, but I do think another body is going to do us some favors here. Oh, it's a white creature. It taps the thing down, doesn't it? That's cool. Tap the Urabrask. Yeah, unfortunately, and I thought that's how that would work. If the creature's already tapped, then it doesn't trigger Hilda. What's the movie with the Ice Queen? Is that The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? What'd they call that? The Chronicles of Narnia? Is that it? Is that what I'm thinking of? Or is that a different movie? Pretty sure it's that movie. I really enjoyed that movie when it came out, but upon rewatching, it loses a little bit of steam. We get some damage in. We're at 6 cards in hand. We have no max hand size. We got our mana up. I feel good. Let's pass the turn. So far, things are going exactly as I'd hoped. Now, everyone just wheeled, and likelihood of board wipes is a real thing. In which case we would lose quite a bit. Quite a bit. But do have the capacity to rebuild. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing. So, as we briefly mentioned, Zombie Caller piloting Atraxa Grand Unifier. 7 mana, 7/7, Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. And as it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, put a card of that type from among them into your hand. Rest on the bottom. So much card advantage. I'm pretty sure there are CEDH variants of this commander, which is generally a good gauge to tell you when something's like a little too strong. It's like, well, if it's CDH viable, it's probably a little too strong. At least in my book, right? As the aforementioned old school crusty commander player. But yeah, dare I say that this Atraxa does a little bit too much. I mean, the last Atraxa already did too much. At least this one's costed more appropriately, but still. Selvala Stampede. Oh, God. Oh, God. I never know how to vote on this one. Each player votes for... You'd think I would at this point, right? I've seen this card so many times, right? It used to be a super popular card. Reveal cards from the top of your library and you reveal a creature card for each wild vote. Put those creature cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle the rest of your library. You may put a permanent onto the battlefield from your hand for each free vote. I think you go free, right? Because, like, wild, they essentially get more cards where at least free sort of runs them out of... I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below if you know how you're supposed to vote on this Selvala Stampede, because I still haven't figured it out. Yeah, we'll go... Yeah, there's free's got 2 votes. We'll go free. That is a Chulane. Disgusting. And unfortunately, because of that Urabrask, everything comes in tapped. Don't love that. I'm seeing a problem with this Urabrask. Don't really have a way to shoot it, but would love to shoot it somehow. Need a Royal Assassin. I don't think those exist in other colors, though. Shoot all the tapped creatures. Deathbringer Liege. Well, I guess that's still black. Not helpful. Emil, Gandalf, Chulane. That seems terrible. All right, so we got Emil, which is the ETB, may pay if you do, put counters on stuff. Gandalf, haven't seen this one. 5 mana, 5/5. Whenever you cast a spell with mana value 5 or greater, each opponent reveals the top card of their library. If any of those cards share a card type with that spell, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and each opponent draws a card. Otherwise, you draw a card. Too much text. I don't even know what I just read. Copy spells, sometimes lots of card draw. Seems bad. And Chulane is disgusting. A problem that I'm seeing right now is that we don't have lots of hard removal. We have a lot of soft removal in that we can tap everything down, but... Oh god, we gotta vote again. I will vote for Jenka. I wouldn't mind getting a permanent in right here, because that would give us more damage. Still don't have our land drop lined up. May need to think about that scry off the Hilda trigger at some point. You know, there are times where you'll want the 4/4, but based on our current board state, I'm like, man. One, it's hard to just not draw a card, right? It's like, drawing cards in this game triggers your primal sense of greed, and it's like, I must draw more cards, but, you know, at some point you want to think about, we have creatures in play right now, so obviously we're going to want to try to get them pumped up, but I do want to get that land drop also. I guess also once we get the Remora in, like, theoretically the Remora should draw us a few cards, so then we can really kind of focus on getting the team pumped up. Probably need more protection spells in this deck. Didn't really think about that either. We drew 2 cards. That's pretty cool. One's a Thran Dynamo. That is a very good card. We have a lot of cards. We just need to get them all out of our hand now. It's going to be the tricky part. Zombie got a land into play. Not the worst thing. Yeah, so Zombie's down to 2 cards after the thing, where if we vote the other way in the thing, like all this stuff's still in their hand, and then they still get a bunch of creatures. Seems bad. Oh, I forgot. They can definitely shoot the Felidar Retreat with this thing. I mean, we got 2 triggers off of it. That's not terrible. It's really not bad. 1 trigger, that's a bit for 4 mana, but 2... Even if it should go down, I can live with it. I wonder if they just hold it, though, right? Because it's the kind of thing that, like, it sort of just makes sense to hold. But, you know, if they just went straight after the Felidar, I wouldn't blame them either. Also, like, shooting a Ruby Medallion, it's not as, like, immediate of a problem as the Felidar Retreat, but every turn the game goes longer with this thing in play, right? You're talking about gaining 3, 4... maybe 5 extra mana a turn, you know, around turn 10, assuming that Fish has enough cards to do that. These get really strong as the game goes on, and assuming you still have cards in hand. Really open up the lot of spells in a turn kind of thing. That's a Pure Steel Paladin trigger. They get to draw a card. Yep, and that is a Commander's Plate. We do overlap on white, so we do have some blocking. Flare Husk. So it seems like they're kind of doing a living weapon thing over there. Triggers Pure Steel Paladin again. Yeah. Pure Steel's going to be a real problem. They now have as many cards as we do. Living Weapon, draws a card. Here's the Wheel, got rid of Coercive Portal, the Great Henge, Capital Punishment, Scroll Shift. So Zombie's definitely doing a vote deck. But yeah, getting rid of the Great Henge is always a very good move. Like I said, the cast a creature, draw a card effect is busted. Like, that effect used to cost like 6 mana with Soul of the Harvest, and now that it's at like 4, has pretty drastically changed how games play. Great Henge, it's weird because it gets cost reduced, but I mean, sometimes it comes in for green, right? Usually it's a little more than that. It's probably like 4 or 5 on average, but it also makes 2 mana. So, yeah, Great Henge does a little bit too much. Nahiri is now into play, does come in tapped, has Affinity for Equipment. Oh yeah, so they paid like no mana for that. Makes sense with the cheap equipment. Understand what's going on. And whenever an equipped creature you control attacks, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. You may cast equipment spells without paying their mana cost. Oh, man. Yeah, that seems really strong. I'm going to have to take a look at that one at some point. Puts the Commander's Plate on the Pure Steel Paladin. Yep, can't do a lot about that. Pure Steel, coming our way. Yep. Nahiri and Explorer Scope. Things to think about. We have a Cryptic Command, which is a counterspell, and... How would we feel if a board wipe went off? So, like, Zombie's got some truly nasty stuff. Jenka has a lot of small things. Pure Steel Paladin is a pretty scary card. Yeah, it would be a good idea if we can leave up the Cryptic Command, but... Mana's going to be dicey. 4 mana counterspell and triple blue is not going to be pretty. Kabira Takedown, shooting our commander. No. I only control 4 creatures. We have 5 toughness. So, I guess we let that happen? That may have been the exile spell. No, the exile of planes. Curious play. Oh, they're just trying to get cards out of their hand. Still, could have shot something else. That's got 4 toughness. That's got 4 toughness. He said, and that's not supposed to happen. Oops, he made a mistake. Yep. I was prepared to activate the Lawkeeper and pump things up if that was numerically relevant, but it was not. See what Fish is thinking here. A Blasphemous Act wouldn't be the best. Just pumping stuff up. Oh, yeah, that seems fine. We'll tap down Zombie's creature. Try to coerce Fish to go over there. We get a trigger. Pay the 1. I mean, it could still be a Blasphemous Act, but I definitely should have just waited right now. But too late now. Too late now. Let's go over the +1/+1. Plenty of cards in this moment. Keep pumping the team up. Interestingly, this does take mana, and Jenka tapped out all their mana. So Fish gets an attack over to Zombie. They draw a card. Yeah, Zombie's going to have like a pretty scary turn, I'm thinking. What's this one do? ETB, tap target creature. Whenever you tap one or more untapped creatures your opponents control, draw a card only once each turn. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one for this deck. Fish must have like nothing going on. I'm very confused about. From what I've seen so far, I think their hand was a little better before the wheel. I think it made sense to like hold the wheel. They had lands and Planeswalker, Hellkite Tyrant. Like that. I mean, they could have went like Seething Song into Hellkite Tyrant, and that's a solid play. Granted, we'd probably tap it down a lot, but maybe that's what they were thinking. Trying to get to the board wipe. We've also had this Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which is a pretty strong card. Zombie down to 25. Can we kill Zombie? Huh. How much damage do we have? That's a Sinew and Steel. Sinew and Steel. Gonna be... Ooh. So the problem is, we can use the Sinew and Steel to shoot the Citizen's Crowbar, which we might have to do. Otherwise, they would just shoot the Sinew and Steel. Okay, let me think about this. So, 9 + 7 is 16. We would add 4 by dropping a land. We could add a bunch more. Yeah, we can kill Zombie. Okay, yeah. Play an island. Give me the Vigilance trigger once again. Give me Thran Dynamo. Sinew and Steel. Put this on our commander, I guess. Try to be smart with our mana colors here. We have exactly enough for the Cryptic command. Seems good to me. Send them all on a Zombie. This should be lethal. Sword of the Animus trigger. And what's nice is this will trigger another Felidar Retreat. What I was thinking about, but this would use more mana. We don't have more mana, necessarily. Is we could get the token. The token would tap this thing down, and then we would get another Hilda trigger, but then we have to pay for it. And we don't... If we had one more mana, we could do it, but would be a cool little interaction. Zombie goes down, -1, and we're going to shoot the Citizen's Crowbar so it does not shoot our things. Alright, Planeswalker first. Shoot the Citizen's Crowbar. Pass like that, sit on the Cryptic command. We're in a pretty good spot right now. By the way, a point that I wanted to get to, since I don't play blue very often, especially in a setting like this where it's blue-white, it's only 2 colors, so like you're going to feel a lot of the blue, right? If I play 5 color, yeah, there's blue in there, but you know, there may only be like a handful of mono blue spells. Fighter class is pretty good. Yeah, let's find out what they're getting. As long as... Would I counter a Feast and Famine? I might counter a Feast and Famine. Sunforger I would counter. Anyway, in today's day and age, if you're playing blue, I think you should definitely be running probably about 3 counter spells. There's just so many big, powerful things that can beat you now that, like, you just need a counter spell sometimes. And, you know, the classic example is like a Torment of Hailfire, Craterhoof Behemoth. Those have been around for a number of years now, but, like, realistically, there are a lot of things, right? There's a lot of things they could go get with this, fighter class right here. You know, I mentioned 2 of them, Feast and Famine, Sunforger, very scary. There's some other stuff like Argentum Armor. I mean, I know that's an older one, but what'd they get? Hammer of Nazan. Ooh, that's interesting. That one I might let stick. It's annoying, but that one doesn't just beat us kind of thing. Here comes the hammer. The other thing, too, is that we still have the Sinew and Steel, so like the Sinew and Steel can shoot that. They draw it. Nope, free equip and a card draw. Yep. But yeah, I definitely think, like, if you have access to blue, I'm not saying you need to run a million counter spells, but like 2 to 3 of them is probably a pretty good number, just because there's so much stuff. I don't think Baral counter spells is like, I haven't played it in a long time, but I'm not sure that it's a particularly well-positioned deck right now, based on what I see out of games, because, like, you know, in the early parts of the game, turns maybe up to turn 4 or so, you probably can't counter more than, like, definitely not more than 2 things in a turn. Realistically, probably 1. So, you know, you can't stop everything that's going on a board with that. That said, you can still be extremely annoying, but And, if you are playing that deck, the aggro decks at the table will probably just come at you with everything they have, because eventually they're going to want to resolve something. Move the commander's plate over to the Nahiri. Move the thing over to the Nahiri, yep. I mean, we can still tap it if we need to. I think I would take the damage this turn and sit on the Cryptic command. Next turn when we untap, we'll have the Thran Dynamo plus the extra land that we grabbed. As long as it doesn't have double strike, we're in good shape. If it has double strike, then we're going to have to start using stuff, but I have to imagine this is coming our direction. You know what, though? We have pro red. Yeah, we can just block it. They don't have trample, right? Is Fish taking this one? So one of the thoughts I had, too, while building this deck is like, hey, we have lots of, bad creatures, and by bad, I mean, they're really good in draft. Stuff like this. What do? You put swords on them. So I threw a couple swords in the deck. I thought the most relevant ones, like Sinew and Steel, is nice because of the removal, and you'll be able to get it through. So that was the thing, too, is you'll just always be able to get these things through because you're tapping everything down. Sinew and Steel is nice. Truth and Justice is nice. Feast and Famine is obviously insane. Hearth and Home is just always good. So, I think I only ran 2 of them, but if I were building this deck for real, I'd probably run those 4. If you have access to it, a Fire and Ice for more card draw is always nice too. But plus, you know what? Actually, this deck is lacking on hard removal. Like a Fire and Ice would shoot this Pure Steel right now, and that would actually be a pretty good thing. Yeah, I think we just block and they bounce off each other, right? Oh, no. We can't block with that one. I guess we throw this 5/5 in front. As much as I want the damage off that 5/5, it is much better than taking 11 commander damage from a Voltron commander. That is a worthwhile trade. We lose our beast token, but no harm, no foul. That's an Atali. Yeah, we can just tap it. Tap the Atali. This might be the spot to get our creature back. Oh, this is going to be wild. Deflecting Swat. No. Deflecting Swat. Oh, well played. Well played, Fish. Because I was just thinking about it, I'm like, okay, we use that, we get, we make a 4/4. 4/4 triggers this thing, which we can then use to tap another thing, which triggers this again. Oh, that was about to be so cool. Tab our commander. Yep. Yeah, here comes the pain. That'll be 10 damage. Tome of Legends and Atali. Hope this Atali doesn't hit anything too big. Enlightened Tutor and Jorkadine. Could be worse. Could be worse. Draws a card. Yeah, looks like we're taking. There's a land. Lands are good. Play the land. Oh, that's 2 landfall triggers. Oh, that's good. That is very good. Let's get our 2/2 back. Definitely need another token. Keep the bodies coming. Also, oh, that starts the daisy chain, doesn't it? I think that does. This is going to get silly. Did I just do all this out of order? I might have. Tap that. Pay 1. We'll tap the Thran Dynamo. Seems like a good time for that. Pay 1. Yeah, make a 4/4. Wow, Court Street Denizen in this deck. Insane. With Felidar Retreat. We make a 4/4. Tap that down. They all come in tap, sadly, because of Urabrask. Do it again. Make a 4/4. Tap this one down. Pump the... We're going to use this one to pump the team. Pump the team. What's next? Are we getting a creature in right here? Oh, we could have drawn a card if we cast that. Well, too late now. Everything's tapped out already. I mean, for the most part, we just kind of need to, not die to stuff. We need to do... let's get... Always Watching is more damage, although how much white mana, how much blue mana? I think we can get an Always Watching. Maybe not the best, since this deck is making a lot of tokens, but for the non-tokens, it does give Vigilance, though. No, not too. Yeah, okay, maybe Always Watching isn't the best. Maybe Brave the Sands only for this deck because of the token generation. It's still helpful for these 3, though. Get the Mystic Remora. Crack this thing. Get Prairie Stream. Landfall. Pump the team. And Vigilance. Go to combat. I think Heartshot into Jenka take our chances with Fish. I think that's what we're on here. Is this going to be an... Ooh, this might be enough. This might be enough. Because Sword of the Animus trigger. 1 more land. Pump the team again. Sword of the Animus plus Felidar Retreat. All game. So good. Now it's enough. Wow. I didn't think this deck would kill this quickly, to be honest with you. I guess we had a Soul Ring start, so that helps a lot. Yeah. Turn 7, we just killed 2 players with 1-shots. Sinew and Steel. No Planeswalkers. Shoot the Ruby Medallion. Yeah, sit on the Cryptic command. I mean, They're going to need a lot of stuff to get through what we have going on. No one really hit us with any removal, and this is apparently a deck where you cannot let me have all my toys. Probably the most important thing is shooting the commander, getting that out of play. The deck probably does fall apart a little bit if you get Hilda out of here. But I am loving the absolute jank of creatures that we get to run here. I would love to get these guys in. That'll happen probably next turn, although Fish doesn't make a crazy sequence of plays. We do just have lethal, so I probably won't ham it since we've kind of dominated all game. Combustible Gearhulk is interesting. Draw your cards. Oh god, I forgot to tap things down. Well, they're gonna get a shot in. Yep, here comes the Atali. I mean, I guess it dies when we block it, unless they hit something crazy. Invasion of Karsus. Ooh, our stuff is giant. We don't really care. Path to Exile though is a card. It's going to trigger the Mystic Remora Path on our commander. And there's the Invasion of Karsus. We get 2 Mystic Remora triggers. Gadwick, Swords, Invasion. Yeah, we're just going to counter the Path. They can still have a board wipe, though. Tap this down. Because, like, if they follow up with Blasphemous Act, then it's not great. This game goes on for a while. Where losing our commander is annoying, but we have so much in play now that we just need to win the game, so... We could use... Yeah, exactly. We're anticipating a Blasphemous Act. If they don't have it, everything's fine, so... Yep, keep pumping the team. Need 31 damage. I don't know if we're still going to have it with our commander going down. Landfall will trigger Felidar Retreat again, though. That's a thing that's about to happen. Get an island. Back to the command zone. Pump the team. God, this deck is miserable for our opponents, but I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Like, I understand that the misery is real. What's our life? We're not going to die, right? No, it's only 6. We'll be fine. We could have blocked. Down to 12. No follow-up. Back to our turn. Cumulative upkeep 1. We can pay. Topplegeist. Recast our commander. And this should do it. I mean, we can move the sword. That should be plenty, though. Tap this. Pay 1. Yeah, they scoop right there. So, yeah, like I said, I had a lot of fun with this. Mana Geyser, Flamecaller. Flamecaller is interesting. Our stuff's so big, though, it doesn't really get us. Oh, they had an Ugin. Why didn't they go, like, Mana Geyser Ugin? Puzzling. Oh, maybe because we killed everyone? Yeah, probably because they weren't going to get enough mana because we killed everyone. Yep. So, Zombie wasn't, like, super happy with me dropping him on turn 6, but it was the strategically correct thing to do. Yeah, anyway, I had a great time with this. Terrible time for our opponents. God, this deck is miserable to face. Do not let this stay on the battlefield. You will have a bad time. Particularly if you're playing a creature deck. If you're playing like some spell slinger thing, it may not be that bad. But this in combination, I mean, I guess we had like some nice setup going on. So we had this in combination with Felidar Retreat and a Sword of the Animist. That's what we have, like 9/9s? Gideon's Lawkeeper is a 12/12, right? That's insane. That's when a game's going really good for you. I don't know that you're going to have those results every single time with this game, with this deck, but yeah, when you have 12/12 Gideon's Lawkeepers, things have shaped up for you. Changes I would make: a little bit more recursion, maybe another protection spell or 2 into the deck. Probably try to balance out the creature count a little bit amongst. It seemed like there was a lot of enchantments that wanted to go in here. But yeah, just try to get a greater balance. I would love to get around 24 to 25 creatures in here, and then have the card draw to kind of balance that out. Maybe it's better with the lower count and just more card draw. I don't know, but yeah, this thing is spicy, right? Like, and the thing is too is that I'm holding back with this build. Yeah, there's good stuff in it, but I'm not running Feast and Famine. There's no Rift. Not running a Farewell. Not running Static Orb or any of the you don't untap type cards. It could get a lot worse. Like, that's a thing to think about too. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.
I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel, vote on which decks I play next, or if you want to get some good games of Spell Table, be sure to check out my Patreon at the link below.